about 13% of what we get is not recyclable, meaning it's either soft plastic, it's trash material, or it's types of plastics that right now there's just no market for. So we do accept it all as rigid plastics, but certain things like polycarbonate, black plastics, like those takeout containers that are just pure black, there's almost no market for that. They also don't really pick up on our scanners, so they're kind of an issue. And then hybrid materials, where there's multiple types of plastics altogether, those also pose issues. So in addition, really small items. So a single fork or one bottle cap by itself, it's really hard to package those up. We can separate them out, we can scan them and all of that, but actually baling them up to ship them out to somewhere, it's not really economically viable for any other facilities. They don't really want just a huge truckload of bottle caps. They'd rather get bottles. A lot of that will end up getting landfilled. So that. Sometimes we don't have a choice, especially if we live in a tall building, right? It's the way that New York City sort of addressed the problem of constrained curbside space. But we get a lot of these extra bags because people think these are recyclable. And now these signs will always say no plastic bags, only rigid plastics. There won't be a picture of any plastic bags on these labels. The reason for that is these bags get so dirty and ripped by the time they've gotten into the truck or the barge through our facility. No facility wants plastic film this dirty. It's cheaper just to make new plastic film than it is to clean this out and recycle this. Also, this type of material gets caught up in all of our machines. So every single day, probably when we're out there, you'll see some folks out there with poles like clearing out certain machines. You'll notice this with all the metal. And you probably, if you saw that video with the drum magnet, you saw a lot of plastic bags coming along for the ride. Basically everything out there is engineered against plastic bags, but they still pose really big issues.
And they still haven't, so in the UK and in European countries, they've now just, was it 5 cents even?
Oh yeah.
5 cents for a bag like that.
Yeah.
We could reduce it by half.
We tried to pass. There was going to be just a 5-cent bag fee in New York City, and it was narrowly overturned by a competing bill from plastic bag lobbyists. And just that small. Right. Well, yeah. There's a lot of arguments actually in favor of a 5-cent fee rather than a ban. For various reasons, just in terms of the impact it has and the sort of behavioral shift you get with just getting a ban passed versus a fee. The 5-cent fee will end up, reducing. I think it's something around 60% in other cities that have implemented it, and it's pretty close to banning it altogether because that 60% is immediate and it goes down over time. So we were very much in support of that passing, and we're really disappointed that it didn't because it's just not something we want. It's not something we can do anything with. And it's one of the biggest sources of just overall litter around the city as well. Same thing with styrofoam. There was going to be and there is now a renewed effort on the part of the city to ban styrofoam food packaging. It's made of plastic. Technically, all plastic could be recycled, but there are no facilities doing that would buy from us, especially if it's dirty with food. So that's another issue where people who make styrofoam are saying, well, no, it's plastic, it is recyclable, we'll invest in it. Give you the machines to be able to sort it out, sell it, but that's not really happening. So it's another material that we don't want to see, and another ban that we were sort of supportive of. Those are just the really strange legal issues over just these certain problematic materials that I hope improves over time. Let's head out this way. Actually, enjoy the deck.
those of you who don't know Bronx Works, we are a multi-service organization. We've been around for about 45 years. And our mission is to help individuals and families improve their social and economic well-being. From toddlers to seniors, we feed, shelter, teach, and support our neighbors to build a stronger community. So in partnership with Grow NYC, we've actually launched this composting project with them, but in 2013 we first started a relationship with bringing them over to the site and launching the first food box here. Last year we distributed about 6,000 pounds of produce to the community. So continuing that success and building off of that success, we've now opened our first Bronx location for the drop-off of food scraps. Composting has been implemented in our after-school programming, so our kids go and collect food scraps. They then go and drop them off at the drop-off location. They learn about composting and help to reduce waste. Without further ado, we have special guests here. So the commissioner from New York City Department of Sanitation is here, Catherine Garcia.
Thank you so much for our partners at Bronx Works, at the New York Botanical Garden, the Compost Project, as well as Grow NYC. So today we're announcing this new drop-off site, one of new 9 drop-off sites in the Bronx, as well as the expansion of curbside collection in the Bronx to Bronx 8, 10, 11, and 12 this summer. But I also want to encourage everyone who's in an apartment building that they can apply online to be part of our compost at the curbside program. And why bother? Why do this? Well, who knew that the black gold that we create from your food waste, from the 1.2 million people who are participating already, would be in such high demand? On Sunday, we gave away 14,000 of the very large bags of compost within 2 hours. So there is an enormous demand because this helps make our environment better. The food that you are throwing away can turn into compost, and then we will show it being used to make a tree happier today, which, while we have had a lot of rain, if we ended up in a drought, one of its real benefits is its ability to hold water on the soil. And so it's part of also an educational campaign for young children. They see their waste go into a pile, become compost, and regrow their food. So I want to thank everyone in the Bronx for welcoming us. I have to say, I've got some districts in Brooklyn who are already saving their food waste with the anticipation of their curbside program in their freezer. So there's a lot of excitement out there to be participating, and I encourage everyone to come and see a compost project garden, come and participate at the New York Botanical Garden. There's lots of opportunities to see how this works, and we want your food waste. It is the future black gold that we can create and make the planet a better place. So thank everyone for coming, and thanks to all of our partners at Bronx Works for hosting us today. I hope you see it as part of a circle of life, so to speak. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming today. Grow NYC is so proud and so happy to work with the Department of Sanitation to provide food scrap drop-offs in all 5 boroughs of New York City. I'm very excited to announce that this June, starting June 9th, we're opening 9 new food scrap drop-off sites in the Bronx, and that in June there will be over 100 opportunities for people to drop off their food scraps in the city. So here today, we are collecting food scraps as we do every Wednesday, and it's a free program funded by New York City Department of Sanitation, and we get to do really amazing things with the food scraps. We turn them into compost and use them for community greening like we're going to do here today.
Those people who participate, do they get a container with their food scraps in, or do they?
People can bring their food scraps in anything they want. So a lot of people bring it in paper bags, which we can compost. A lot of people bring it in a reusable container, which doesn't have to be something you buy. It can be any reused item. And then some people find it more convenient to freeze their food scraps throughout the week, which we love because it keeps, again, one of the main benefits of keeping food scraps separate is that it's the part of the trash that smells bad. And if you're keeping it separate and you're freezing it, then you're keeping your kitchen cleaner and smelling nicer.
Thank you.
NYC Compost Project, thank you for having us. So the NYC Compost Project is fully funded by the Department of Sanitation to teach New Yorkers how to make and use compost locally. So right now in the Bronx, we work with over 51 community compost sites to help them get their garden trimmings and food scraps and make it into compost locally in their garden. And then there's over 200 community gardens that we currently work with. Right here today we have some representatives and our master composters, which is a part of our educational program. So we have master composters from Rivers Run, from River Garden, from New Roots, from Reed Street, from Padre Plaza, who are our hands-on volunteer staff that teach people how to make and use compost locally. So instead of us going out there, they're doing the work for us, but we provide them with technical assistance and support so they can get their work done. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and I thank Grow NYC for selecting us as the location for this. So I thank the New York City Department of Sanitation for joining us today as well, and for the New York City Compost Fund. Thank you.
Supposed to be in there.
What are you seeing there? You see any pathogens? You guys see any?
What types of materials you have based on the one browns and greens with a base of wood chips and a top of wood chips. So that way you get aeration through here, and then you have that browns on top to kind of cover any smell or odors that you may potentially attract some raccoons or skunks or coyotes that live in the neighborhood.
He doesn't have cancel out for safe traffic.
Okay.
Just little.
Right off the road, I would say yes. Safe because there's any air through it too.
Yeah, clothes can go around. Yeah, there you go.
Does anybody else?
Right. Be like a hamster here.
Yeah, look at that.
Anybody else?
Nice.
Because of the height. So when she has school groups here, it's not that squishy.
But the thing is, this one, they will usually no, that's first part.
What?
Yeah.
Tim, this looks awesome. So can you get off?